Hello class, and welcome to lesson 1.2, data analysis with graphs. Normally if we had a regular class we'd be doing this together, so I will just show you a sample data from another class that I've done in the past. All right, so today our expectation is to organize and summarize data using graphs. So there are lots of different options on how you display your data. Please understand that if you're trying to research something or collecting data, the best thing to display it in is a graph, because people understand graphs better than just a list of all the actual data values or outcomes. All right, so here's an easy example to take a look at data. So if we were in class right now, I'd ask you to collect all your heights in centimeters. Here is a sample from previous years. Please ignore the crossouts right now. So we have 163, 168, 183, all the way, if we go through the whole class, to 184. One way to display this data, for example, if I wanted to find out the average class height, I wouldn't just leave it like that. I would need to construct what's called a frequency table, okay, and a frequency diagram. Okay, we're going to learn how to do that. Before we set up a frequency table, we have to look at our range of data, which is in this circle right here, okay, and we find the lower value first. Okay, smallest value in this class is 160 centimeters, and the upper range, which is the highest person, is 191. To find the range, ladies and gentlemen, you take the range in your data, you take the highest number and subtract the lowest number, and you're going to find out that that is a 31. So what does that mean? In one sample class, like what I've shown up above here, we have a difference between 31 centimeters from the smallest person to the tallest person in the class. Okay, and I'm around the small, so I would probably be maybe a little bit below that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, once we've found the largest and the smallest, we now want to choose an interval. You want to make sure you write this down, ladies and gentlemen, on how to choose intervals, because this is something you'll be tested on for your upcoming assessment. Okay, so number one, find the high and low values like we did. Number two, start at a nice number below the lowest value. So we've got 160, and we're going to start at 155. And then what we want to do is make sure that we have in our table displayed between 5 to 20 intervals. So I chose the number of going by fives. So I'm going to go 155 to 160 as my first interval. My second is going to be 160 to 165. My third is going to be 165 to 170, etc. And we go all the way so we can include all the values in my sample class, which is up here. Okay, so you can use this as an example, or you can make your own set of data up as well. It doesn't matter. It's just how to organize it and to set it up. So how do we do a tally, folks? So once we take a look at our first number, and this is where the crosses come in place. I'll use a different color. So the first one is 163. So I'm going to cross it out, and I'm going to go to the column where 163 is, and I'm going to give it a tally mark. Okay, then I'm going to go through the second one. Second one is 168, and I'm going to go to 168, which is right here. Okay, and keep going through. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you do this, there can be some confusing numbers. For example, 180. Okay, 180, if you look on our intervals, 180 could be here or it could be here. The rule of thumb is you always bring it to the highest interval. So that 180 is going to be in here. Okay, so if there's one that's on the overlap, always bring it up to the highest interval. Okay, so you do that for all the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, and you complete your tally. Then when you're done, folks, all you do is count the numbers in your tally and make it your frequency. So for example, I got 4 tick marks. That means 4 in my frequency. So just take the ticks and make it to a numerical number. Awesome. And after you're done that, folks, we add those all up and we have 21. Please make sure that that matches the numbers in our sample class, okay? Because if you miss one, then all your data is going to be off when we do analysis later on. Okay, so great. So now we've got a frequency of the age groups, okay? And now we're going to graph them, okay? And we're going to put this on a frequency diagram. Okay. Another name for this is called a histogram. Okay. And notice, ladies and gentlemen, when we set up our graph, I have what's called a break here. A break in the data means you don't have to start from zero. It makes no sense for me to go to zero and make a big scale all the way to 195 when we majority of that, like the 150 to zero, is not being used. So break in data allows us to break it up so we don't have to start at zero. Just hold on for a second. There's an announcement. Sorry, folks, it's a snow day. I'm trying to get this video done. So, it's a bus delay day. I'm trying to get this video done. All right, so here we go. Back at this break in data, ladies and gentlemen, allows us to not have to start at zero. Whereas every time we do a frequency diagram, y-axis is frequency. So it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do I know when to make my frequency biggest? I look in my frequency column and I notice 5 is my biggest frequency. Okay. All right. So then what you do is you set up your bars and you put nice color on it. Try to use a ruler if you've got one. And ladies and gentlemen, because they're side by side, I kind of make dash marks opposite so you can see the break in it. For example, from 165 to 175, they're both at 3 in terms right here in terms of their frequency, but I've given them different dash lines so they do stand out and look like they're separate entities. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of a histogram. It has numeric data because we actually calculated the numbers, and it is discrete data because I asked you to give me to the nearest centimeter. All right. Okay. So, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, the point of today was taking raw data, organizing it, and then displaying it. Okay? So later on in the flipped environment, you're going to do this in class. So you're going to look at your textbooks between page 91 and 100, and you're going to fill in this placemat. So this is part of your homework. If you want to go ahead and take a look at it, you can take a look at filling these in. And here's your homework that you're going to do in class. The placemat activity, that's that page I just showed you, and all of 101, numbers 1, 2, 5, 9, and 12. And pick one of them, either 7 or 8, and try the challenging one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these ones that are the challenging thinking ones, these are your harder level questions, which are your level 4 on the assessment. So those are those harder thinking questions. So always try the challenge questions, folks, to help you be better prepared for your assessments. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day, and we will see you in class. Namaste.